everyone, welcome to a post-Rochester PTC episode of the Guile Treatment. Honestly, it's nice to have another Rochester PTC. There wasn't one last year, and honestly, it's one of my preferred events because it's close, and I used to live there, so I know where to just run off to at night, leave everyone else behind, and go drinking. So yeah, I mean, good to be up there. Missed going up there last year. Kevin Broberg defended the home turf quite ably.
Everything you just said about, I love having a Rochester event, man. Times 100, like it's so close.
For sure. It's great having a home event because you don't have to really worry about.
You know what, guys? Why don't you both tell me how good it is to have a home event?
Hey, man.
All of the.
But no, I want to say shout outs to Rochester CCG for doing a stream. We did the Rockford CCG did the restream of the stream with some commentary from round 3 on. We were going to do top cuts, but then I was dropping frame rate like crazy, and I was just like, fuck it, and I'm done. And I didn't know I'm not computer enough to know how to fix that yet. So hopefully we'll get that fixed for Arkansas. But it was great watching some online UFS because I think the last couple didn't have a stream. I know the California one didn't have a stream. Yeah. And Atlanta had a bit of a stream, but nothing in top cuts. So it was really good to have like an entire event streamed for. Well, we had one in Chicago. I think that was the last one that was fully streamed, I believe, right?
And I mean, this one's good too because it's just new characters.
Oh,
so
for sure.
And I know the other thing too is Sean. It was sort of a curated selection. It wasn't necessarily table one.
Oh, so. Good. Okay, cool. Because we were wondering what was gonna, what was going on, if it was just table one all the time, or it's good to see a random mix of people and characters normally that you wouldn't see on there. So before we get into Kevin's demolishing of Rochester, let's get into our scoreboard picks. The scoreboard will be over there. My camera's backwards, so it's going to be over there by Xianghua. The only person to get points was Barrett. He got a point for picking Xianghua, so he is now 1 point behind the leader, which is still me. So the guests have 3 points. Rob has 3 points. Barrett has 4, and I have 5. Fun note: the guests will have multiple picks on the World's pre-show, so the guests could overtake anybody because we're gonna have multiple guests on that show, so they're all gonna count just for that. So
that sounds terrible.
It's going to be. Hey, man, we can't always have it in favor of the house. Okay, the house sometimes doesn't win, unfortunately.
The house. What are you doing, Chris? The house always wins.
Oh, trust me. As of recording,
why I had to show up to Rochester.
As of recording,
Sean O'Brien's house would win.
As of recording, WrestleMania was last night. We had a contest where money was up on the line. I won all the money, so the house won last night. Thank you, Becky Lynch, for sealing the deal for me. So,
Becky.
So with the new characters, people kind of guessed on power levels on some of these guys. We kind of knew that Xianghua was going to be pretty good. It was more of the support, I think, and then she was kind of like a outlier with her stuff, I guess.
I think Xianghua on, when she was shown, people were like, what is this? This is crazy. And started, going through all these things about, she can do ice balls, she can do, single barrel and clog up their pool, all of these different things. And I think in some ways, the hype kind of died down a bit when, some of her support was shown. It was fine. It wasn't, Krita is stupid, which, we'll get there, I guess.
Yeah, I felt that way, too, that the hype really died down, that people were kind of sleeping. Not even sleeping on her, but they just felt like she didn't persist in what they thought she was going to be.
I think that it still turned into, she can do all this cool stuff, but at the end of the day, she's 19 vitality and, wants to play 3 damage moves. How's she going to kill Goro? How's she going to kill, some of these other big people? Can she really, stand up to, the Akumas and Goros and stuff of the meta? And
I do want to preface this, though.
I think that was sort of an open question.
If I can cut in real quick.
Yeah.
This was after the Sub-Zero change, so maybe that kind of threw I don't know if anyone's deck changed. I think Jesse's did because he traded for Sub-Zero in the Rochester draft, and he was going to play Sub-Zero. So I think that might have affected some people's deck choices going in. Like, well, I need to play something that could fight the Sub-Zero deck, but now I don't have to worry about that. So people were trying out some different stuff. But sorry to interrupt you, co-host. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, but I just think I think Xianghua was sort of like the early darling of previous season, and then people sort of got excited about other stuff, and I wouldn't say forgot about Xianghua. Like, she was always sort of mentioned, but it was kind of there were growing question marks about her, I'll say.
Yeah, and I can certainly imagine a lot of people, if they started testing, which I sure didn't get to do because I had to prep for Turbo last weekend. If you try your Xianghua deck out, you can play it a bunch, and you'll find that you play a bunch of 3 damage attacks. Maybe they're disruptive, maybe they're whatever, and then your opponent goes to 10 life and kills you, or even any kind of other problems like that. She had a hard time killing these anti characters by and large, and I thought my deck was extremely angry. It has a lot of violence baked into its bones. And I think if you're not that angry, I think you can get exploited by people.
Sure.
And I think there's a lot of stuff I think that it was really not obvious in this deck that I had to dig up.
Okay, I'll pull up the deck list right now if we want to just kind of go into it. I don't know if do you have it, Rob? Did Kevin send it to you? No.
I might have it.
Okay.
I'm good. I'll figure it out.
I'll pull it up.
So the big picture of this deck is that it's it's a 21 attack deck with 28 foundations. So make of that what you will. It's really a deck built to be a Xianghua deck. It's take advantage of what her strengths are and what she brings to the table, and to really try to maximize that stuff and maximize some of the other super powerful cards. So they're playing kind of the attack package is really centered around Windmill Punch, Forbidden Moonset, and Skull Barrier. So those respectively are a multiple 3 attack, an attack with powerful 5 that gains a momentum and answers the foundation, and a defensive resource that has a +0 mid block that turns into stun 1 or stun 3, as well as canceling an attack if you have 2 momentum. So really, this is a deck. It's not per se a aggro deck as you would traditionally think of it. I think I don't try to necessarily go in on turn 2 and end your life, but it plays 21 attacks.
Not his turn 2.
Not his turn 2. But Scott's turn 2. It was Scott's turn 2, by the way. Yeah.
That was not what you. I think you can build your deck to try to maximize that. I think that's a mistake. Yeah. I think you do that when the world serves it up to you on a platter. Yeah. You're like,
I think that's what
a delicious meal. Thank you.
Me and Tim were talking. Tim Friedley did the commentary with me, and we're like, well, that must have been the nut draw defensively, because that, oh my god, was just insane. That was just the craziest stuff I've ever. I think I've seen you play some nutty stuff. Athena assets Athena. I've seen you play Psyche, and it's just like, I think this might have been the nuttiest turn I've ever seen you play ever in my entire life. That was just nuts.
So yeah. You said the note is a defensive turn. I think really I think of this deck as a defensive deck in its own bizarre way. There's 8 action cards, and they all play very powerful defensive roles as well as offensive uses. But so Yin Yang is in this deck because it's Templar, it tutors for a block, as well as doing other stuff. But Gateway Shuffle, -5 damage, and I only have to check against a 2 difficulty. Bang turns off my opponent's best offensive tool. Obviously, these are also useful on offense. If I shut off your TK Mastery or your defensive character, your Stoneman or whatever. But it's really about, Xianghua lets you play free attacks, and so I want to be playing attacks and putting the fear of God into my opponent to make their life frightening and scary, and get that momentum rolling to power up all these other cards. And then once I have that momentum, I can start trying to present no-win scenarios for my opponent. Where if they block, they're going to get even worse off. We're going to clog their card pool, and they're going to start failing blocks and just present lethal damage.
Yeah, that was... I had not heard about the deck. Because basically, I think you were round 3. Were you round 3 on stream against the Maxi deck? Or was that 4?
I think it was 4.
Okay,
yeah.
So we had not seen or heard of it. and then we see Scott sit down. I'm like, oh, cool, that's Scott. He's played Maxi. And it's like, oh, cool, we got 7-hander on 7-hander. And we're like, well...
always an explosive match, yeah.
And we're just like, well, Scott's got some stuff. He has some stuff. And then he plays an attack. And then Kevin just goes, well, R, windmill punch, multiple 3, yin and yang. It's just like, what the heck is going on? I think Tim went to go get water. And I think he might have gotten water. And you guys were all, by the time he got back, you guys were already going into game 2. And I'm not sure, but I'll put the link up in the corner for the exact time where their match was at. And so you guys can check that out because, man, we had to fill some time after your guys' match. And that we were fielding questions from the community because of that. Yeah, it was, your guys' match was pretty, like the game 2 went a little longer, Yeah,
it was, we were both scraping into deadlock a little bit there. But and jockeying defensively, and then I started getting comfortable and pushing some attacks, and we were both like playing very carefully around each other's defensive tools.
Sure.
And so it got to stretch out, but then he kind of just died.
Yeah. So now, okay, so you're thinking about you wanted to focus in on her ability, being able to put your opponent in no-win situations. Now, the yin and yang, a lot of people haven't played a lot of that since like Liu Kang has been gone. That's just, and now I know Trent plays it here in town with his Takeda deck off of Fire, and I was like, oh wait, that card's still decent because it gives you basically +2 speed in a way. Clogs your pool. It's able to get a block. Like he's blocked with it, then SRK'd me, and it's just like ruins my day and all that fun stuff. It's just, it's really neat. It's just a neat tool that I think is now considered underused because Liu Kang is considered not very great right now. So
yeah, it's an incredibly powerful card, and I think it's really underrated. I mean, anytime you can block and take the block out of your card pool, that's already kind of nice, right? Like you can, if you play another block after you block with Yin Yang, it's like it was a +0 block that drew you a card.
Yeah,
like that's like, I mean, Templar's not that good, right? And the fact that it's also really powerful on offense at +2 speed mode, and it's +2 speed, and also if they're going to try to reverse you, I played against Jada in the top 8.
Yeah,
reversals are very frightening for this deck because I end up with a very full card pool and very committed to my attacks. It makes those a lot harder. And I mean, on top of everything else, it does, tutoring blocks is one thing, but the fact I can go from one card in my hand to a reversal in my card pool without spending another card in my hand. If I pass from 3 cards in my hand, that's 3 blocks, and this lets me also block and also put an attack out with Xianghua's response. And it's my choice of attack, so that's 7 virtual windmill punches in here. If I'm going to try to finish you that way, or it's extra swallow your souls if your life total is really low or whatever.
Yeah. I noticed that this weekend too, that a lot of people were playing Swallow, like the matches we had. And
that card's awesome.
The card's, I know that, but now I'm slotting it into decks on Symbol just because it's a throw and I can just punch some damage on it, and you get momentum on it and all that fun, all that fun stuff.
I mean, that's what it boils down to. Is like if you can put 2 damage on Swallow, like unless your opponent's running like DR and stuff, like blocking, like that thing is, it's 5 speed low already. Yeah. So like nobody really wants to block it. And as long as you can put like 2 damage on it, even blocking it, like you're still gonna get the momentum.
What's great too is that it's also a combo, so you can yin and yang off of it, and then you can go into like a windmill punch or a Liu Kang fireball, like what Kevin has in the deck. It's
that's a very, very good card that I would expect to see people playing for a pretty long time.
Yeah, I think one of the traps of Solar Soul is reading the card and thinking, I have to make the most of this. I have to have all my other attacks have 3 damage. I have to build a 3 damage team deck. I can
don't even have to have my card
pool. Yeah, you can ignore the combo. You can treat the combo as it's a punch. You can just ignore it, right? Because there are good cards that are worthy for playing combos like Redeemed Rogue. But yeah, I definitely think that in a broad sense, like the thing you're most worried about with Swallow Your Soul is your opponent damage reducing it to nothing. Or below 3, which is one of the things in this deck that I thought was, not obvious, was I'm playing 3 copies of Freeing the Relics, 2 God of Thunder, and the full set of Creed Yuga to help put more damage on my attacks. Because if I play against a Woodman's Leaf Shield, and if I'm playing all printed 3 damage attacks, I can't deal damage through that. It's just not a significant amount. And if I'm playing against even even if I was playing into Maxi with Woodman's Leaf Shield, he would be able to shut that kind of offense out. And I'm relying on multiple attacks that can't be pumped by a lot of these things. You gotta make the deck angry.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
You gotta make it angry. You gotta make her
man,
mad.
you didn't have any short fuses, did you?
Card sucks.
You're just
not
talking,
to mention,
you're just talking about how, like, I guess you're playing mid attacks.
I'm playing 12 mid attacks.
Yeah.
I got
Yeah.
Including very frequently with this deck, I've first form a Skull Barrier.
Yeah.
Like, do you want to block my 0-speed mid and give me a Xianghua response? It's up to you. The choice is yours. It's only 3 damage.
That's gotta be someone like,
happen?
like, honestly, that's gotta be one of, like, the worst decisions ever. Like, you see your opponent who's as Xianghua leading with a Skull Barrier, and it's like, well, I may have to block this, or whatever.
I mean,
and then
what
it's
if that Skull Barrier is like 8 or 9 damage?
Oh yeah, sure. Oh no, I know, but it's just say it's just 3 damage, and it's just like, I guess I take 3, and you get momentum for later. It's just, yeah, it's nuts,
Yep.
you know.
And kind of in a sense, I kind of give a shout out to kind of like building a lot of decks and trying out a lot of things, because as I look at this right now, I realize a lot of this, like I owe a lot of credit to coming up with having the idea for this deck, was because I built a Felicia deck that was paying a high attack count, 4 main deck Skull Barriers back around when Mortal Kombat came out, because I wanted to maximize Windmill Punch. And I thought I'm going to build an all mid attacks water deck. And I was playing Search for Saurians in this deck for a long time, because reveal your top card if it's a mid attack, get some speed. But I cut that out last minute. But the idea of just putting 4 Skull Barriers in your deck and trying to find a way to make Skull Barrier work for you, not only it fits this deck really well, but it makes a lot of the other cards like Quest for the Hero Sword so much more powerful. Just to almost always have a Skull Barrier available to go.
That card's nuts, man. That's just like, cool. I'll get my Skull Barrier, or I'll get my Swallow Your Soul, or anything for her response. Really, it's just
I'll give this Windmill Punch.
Yeah,
and I won't block your attack. Do you have anything else this turn?
It's just nuts. Okay, so we know how powerful the deck is, and why don't we know the folks at home who weren't there, why don't you walk them through some of your higher points of the weekend, and whatever. You can just explain the match or whatever. You don't have to go into too much detail, or like when it was, just...
Man, I'm going to go into all the detail on all.
Okay, that's fine. Go into detail. That's fine. We got plenty of time.
You want me to go into all the detail?
Well, it doesn't matter. Give people what they want.
First round of the tournament, I actually play against Jeffrey Kahn playing Akuma.
Yeah.
And this is a very scary matchup. If your friends are bullying you with Xianghua, just build an Akuma deck and just fuck them up. It's great. Because Xianghua can't reverse them if their attack doesn't resolve. And if Akuma flips its attack that's currently resolving, there's no she gets no chance to respond. I think she maybe can respond. No, actually, it gets dropped before the block step. Before we get to that step of the block step, yeah. So she can't even play her response. Mm-hmm. She certainly can't play a pseudo reversal. It plays 28 foundations, so it's really bad at having foundations that 10 to block with. And on top of all that, if you have Fade,
oh yeah,
that screws up everything. Screws up every single thing this deck wants to be doing. So very scary matchup. I managed to. He led with the gyro attack an awful lot, which let me play fake reversals on his multiple copy, because that is already face down and can be flipped. And then I got to get a lot of disruption from there and managed to push in with some aggro after that to take game 1. And then game 2.
Yang is that useful against me there, because I don't care about face downs.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's like, oh, thanks, please, more.
Liu Kang's Fireball just gives you more damage. Awesome, great.
Yeah.
Doesn't even it's not even fake speed, because his cards don't count for face downs.
Yeah.
It's almost like they invented him to beat Liu Kang or something. But game 2 felt like the Akuma game. I'm sure you've had these, Chris, where you play against someone whose like deck is kind of like, it's a good deck, like they're well prepared for the matchup, whatever, and then just the cards breaking away, and Akuma fucking murders them. Just the death kanji flashes on screen, and they're just bleeding on the floor.
Yeah.
It was like that. I know I tried to attack him on turn 2, and he had double Fade. And like I played a Forbidden Moonset, he fades out. I play it again, he hacks it. I check it through. I pick it up. I play a Swallow Your Soul. He fades that. I play the Moonset. He hacks it. I fail. I play another Moonset. I check a 3 and I tap out, and then I just die. It was terrible. But in game 3, I managed to take down game 3. I can't remember how it happened. Probably because I set it up to 4 bangs. That was the start. But round 2, I play against Andrew Force, another Rochester local player. I came all this way just to play against my local friends.
Yes, you did.
He's playing a Big Shots Yoshimitsu deck. And again, this deck is frightening to me. He's got a lot of life, gets to draw a lot of cards. He's playing a lot of Telekinetic Mastery's main deck. But in game 3, he gets to go first, and he actually gets a. Does he go first? Maybe he goes second. This doesn't make sense. No, he must have gone first. Yeah. So yeah, that's what happens. I was thinking he plays a Hanya, a mechanical ninja to give +2 to his next check to play a weapon, and then plays Syndicate Slice and checks to 4 or 5. I gateway shuffle the Syndicate Slice down to 0 damage, and then block it with Skull Barrier to reversal him. So he eats 3, and then he builds up more. I decided to build 4, including a Krita Yuga, but I check a 3 on the last one, and I decided to commit my character, thinking he's got like 1 foundation in play, I'll be fine. So he plays. He plays a Steel Resurrection that deals you 2 damage if you don't block with an attack. I decided to block it because I don't want to die. I burn for 2 down to 17. Then he plays another Mechanical Ninja to give us check +2, and a Face Splitter on a 6. And so as a combo, count the weapons your card pool, get that much speed and damage. So he goes up to a 6 mid for 7. Then he plays Big Shot Judy. And then he plays Big Shot Punch. And he plays Big Shot Judy. And he plays Big Shot Punch. Plays Big Shot Judy, he checks a 3 and fails it. He plays Big Shot Punch. He picks Judy, plays a Big Shot Judy. He gets +9 more damage, which, if you are a mathematical genius at keeping track at home, puts it to really fucking fast for 16. And I eat it to my face. So I go to 1, and he passes the turn. And he plays another foundation next. So he has 2 up, and his character. And I have a Krita Yuga and like a bunch of blank. I have a Design for Combat Krita Yuga and a bunch of foundations. In my hand, I have a Liu Kang's Fireball, and he's at 26. And so I draw my hand, and I get a Gateway Shuffle and 5 blanks.
Ooh.
But so one of the things that I was really excited about when I realized that what was going on here in this deck was I realized that Liu Kang's Fireball can set up Design for Combat. So it can take, if I just check it, and I check an attack, it's not that bad. But importantly, if I use Gateway Shuffle, and there's other cards that can do this, so have fun, kids. This is a sweet combo. If I Gateway Shuffle it, I can rearrange. I can put whatever I want on top of my discard pile, then stack it, then draw it. Yep. And so I was like, yes, I bricked so hard, but it's okay. However, I have 1 momentum, and with Krita Yuga in play, Gateway Shuffle and Liu Kang's Fireball, that does 25 damage with my multiple Windmill Punch. He's at 26. And I think, in my hand, I have a quest for the Hero Sword. So I can go to 1. I'm at 1, I can knock him to 1, and then reversal Skull Barrier him with 2 momentum. And I'm like, that'll be pretty okay. So I go through it. I play Liu Kang's Fireball, I play Gateway Shuffle. And on the check for Gateway Shuffle, I flip Forbidden Moonset.
Ooh.
And he has no cards in his. So I stun the rest of it. He has to tap some. He makes 3 checks with Yoshimitsu. He has a Mechanical Ninja and then Yoshimitsu ready. Mm-hmm. And he flips 3 non-weapon cards.
Ooh, that's rough. Ouch.
So he hit me with 7 big shots on turn 2 on 5 difficulty, all of them at 5 difficulty. But now he's not checking any weapons, so there's some kind of justice in this world. And so I pick up my discard pile, and I'm like, I look at my moon set, I'm like, all right, I will leave that there, put that back on top, Design for Combat to draw it, slam it on a 6, pass it, tap out whatever, it doesn't matter. And he gets 1 nasty flip because his character is still ready. Because I stunned him out with Xianghua's stun. Flips a Telekinetic Mastery, I think, actually. I power up, powerful 10, succeed him, and pull the game down. And then I just sit there with my heart pounding, collapsing deflating in my seat of all the nonsense that just happened. Yeah. I was sure I was just gonna die to the freaking unblockable big shot nonsense.
Yeah.
So that was kind of the most emotionally draining moment of the tournament in round 2. some of the other highlights I think are definitely the Scott match is one of my favorite matches of the weekend. And I know you had me on. Was that even part of the stream?
Yeah, but, we live streamed the Discord chat. Yeah, even though even me struggling to get into it. Yeah, that's even in there too. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I talked to Tim for a while, and we were like, we're not sure if anyone can hear us. We're like trying to talk to chat.
Yeah.
It was really it was really exciting because I got to do a bunch of cool shit.
Yeah.
And it was also really exciting because I got to play a long game and like use all these tools in my deck, like emergency ration to teleconnect mastery. You know, that's a card I haven't played a lot of, and I put in my deck to solve specific problems like that, or like sense of morals. And when I say sense of morals, I think of sense of morals as a serious problem for my deck, not realizing that stun 6 is more than sense of morals is really equipped to handle.
Very true. Very true.
And then my last 2 matches, if you go back and watch the VODs on twitch.tv/Rochester CCG, your number 1 source for all your UFS needs. And we're gonna actually export this onto YouTube because we've done a terrible job on Top Deck Heroes of actually exporting any of our videos, so they get lost after a couple weeks. But you can see my semifinal match against Scorpion, and then my finals match against Jeremy Ray. The finals was pretty one-sided. Jeremy's deck, as a Killick deck, it's super cool. It does a lot of very interesting things that I didn't really put together when I saw Killick, and I'm really excited to see the deck list, see how it's put together behind the scenes. But it's a 5-hand size deck, and it has some inherent consistency problems. And he also bombed some checks in a huge way. He sure tried in game 2. He tried to play a Skull Barrier with the plan to play an Air Ground Smash behind it. Which is awkward because neither of those attackers safe or weapon. Yeah. But he gave his next attack -5 difficulty, and he ended up failing that Air Ground Smash because I yin-yanged his ass.
Ooh, nice.
And hit him with the Sun 3. Yeah. And then
That's dirty.
It took a 2 on it. So yeah, it was a bad day.
That's so dirty.
But I had a really incredible match with William Howard, friend of some kind of show. Is he a friend of the show? I don't know if he's.
He's been on the show before. He's Legendary Wolf Games sponsored player, but yeah, he did a Jetta deck profile for us back when Street Fighter vs. Darkstalkers came out.
Yeah, I played him for the first time a couple of years ago at the last Rochester PTC, and haven't played against him since. But I know he beat me in Vega Diversity at Nationals, so that's like beating me in a match, sort of. And I got my revenge here, both for that and for him beating me in the Rochester PTC. This was Jada versus Xianghua. We were both playing water decks with a lot of, I was going to say a lot of the similar tools, but we really didn't have a lot of similar tools. We both had God of Thunder in our deck, but there was a huge amount of stuff that one of us was playing, the other wasn't. I guess we both had Quest of the Hero Sword floating around, but we both kind of walled up a lot. Played a lot of defense and just kind of ground out this really long game. I know I thought I had punted the crap out of game 1 when I went all in on a windmill punch, and he blocked with Prepare to Fight, and I just kind of sighed and told myself to remember that Prepare to Fight exists. And I didn't quite go all in, and it wasn't the worst thing in the world because Jada relies on your opponent having momentum. Discarding through momentum isn't even that bad.
Yeah.
But I had the foresight not to just like throw a yin-yang away for no reason on that windmill punch to give it +2 basically irrelevant speed to block with. And then my hand was Skullberry Yin-Yang, which is incredibly hard to push through in any circumstance against Xianghua, just because I can go get a stun 3 reversal or go get tutor block zone, and then I have a stun 3 Skull Barrier that'll cancel your next attack after that.
Oh, that's right.
So I didn't take that one down 2-0, but we had a thrilling match. I think we might have both cycled in both games, something around that. It took a bit over an hour, even though it was a 2-0.
Oh, wow.
We were holding up the round of 8.
I think that was easily the longest match of Top Cuts.
Yes.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, because I mean, I was in half of the matches, and then the other side of the bracket was in the semifinals was Goro versus Killick.
Oh, yeah, that.
It's not going to have a lot of foundations in play, and that's a little bit of a rough time.
Yeah, if he has nothing to flip, he can't do much. So, yeah. So, I can't wait to see the deck list. I've seen this deck list, but the rest of the deck list from the tournament, Jeremy tested his Keelik against us when he came into Chicago for the Premier Store event.
Okay.
And him, Andrew, and Keith came into Chicago, and
Awesome.
I got waxed by that thing, and it's I'm gonna say it's super greedy. Like the way he was playing it was very greedy. He might have been playing it greedy there at this weekend, but he was testing it very greedy in Chicago, and it was just like he's like just throwing out moonset. He's like skull barrier, or like he's like moonset, get momentum, play moonset again, and like spear multiple. It's just like
Yeah,
dude, this is like a turn one, man.
After our match.
Hmm?
Yeah, exactly. On turn 1,
Yeah.
that if he had the hand, he was going to try. He would play a moonset on a 5.
Yep.
And if it checked, he basically wins the game on the spot because he plays a 3 high 6 that destroys foundation, a 3 high 6 that destroys foundation, and then 2 6 high 6s.
Yep.
And that's it's a lot of damage.
Yes, it is. Yeah. That deck's crazy. But it does I remember him saying in Discord though. He won. I think almost. Did he win all of his matches that he went first? I don't remember. I think he said that he won all of his matches. I think he might have won all of his matches in Swiss that he went first and in tops because I think you were Swiss champs. You went first against
I was
him.
Swiss. Yeah.
So he had no.
I think he was either second or third.
Yeah. So he was going first against the rest of the bracket except for you, and so you had the decided advantage that you were able to being a 7-hander. You were able to build out as much as possible, and then you were able to just fuck his day up with this.
Yeah, I'd say the advantage of that matchup really is just that Xianghua doesn't need. So my deck has a potent offense, number 1, and he has 33 life and not a lot of defense.
Yeah,
it's a lot of kind of things to kind of sort of try to stop you from playing the game, more so than to play to fight the game with you and to go back and forth and play defense or anything. So I have a good damage output, and then I have the ability to play cards without making control checks. So I don't need my foundations to fast checks.
Yeah.
Even if things are going bad for me.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, my deck gets to play safety 3s too, which isn't nothing by any means.
Yeah. So I saw you had Uniting the Cosmos in your deck. So did you ever trigger the R at all?
So I checked it on several blocks. But almost all of those blocks were just on 5 difficulty anyway, and they were already full blocks, so I didn't get to respond.
Oh, that's too bad.
I had at one point. I know on the weekend I had a point where I played a windmill punch and had and stacked Unite the Cosmos as a safety if they reversaled it or anything. And they didn't end up doing anything. They didn't walk into it. But that specific plays that windmill punch can then guarantee your next block is very meaningful.
Yeah.
I did blind check it against Andrew Force in our first game. He played a Guilty Throne wearing all the big shots of the universe, and I have a Forbidden Moonset in my hand. It's lethal on half damage at fast enough that I would need an 8 to block with my board tapped out. 2 outs. Throw it in the card pool, flip you down to the Cosmos. Cheer. He plays another attack and kills me anyway. It was great.
Oh man, that's awesome. That's hilarious.
Because when you get Guilty Throned, they have more attacks.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's Yoshimitsu, so there are 8 damage steel resurrections. It's pretty good.
All right, cool.
And also, actually, United Cosmos,
yeah,
I thought of the meme jokes. I can automatically block stuff. It is a foundation in this deck, and it prevents your opponent from discarding your momentum. And this deck loves its momentum. It protects my Skull Bears, protects my multiple 3 windmill punches, protects all this kind of stuff. And it actually came in clutch. I played against Will Howard's Jada deck, and he tried to use reactive style, and I canceled that shit.
Nice.
Which then protected my last momentum and prevented him from using Jada's once per turn. So it was absolutely it was like a small play in the middle of the game. You can never tell how it was going to play out from there. There was a lot of game left to play before it finished.
Sure.
But it put in work there, even in the staging area.
So now with the advent of this newest set with SoulCal and all the assets, so I know that some of them aren't as great as Crit to Yuga, and I know some people are high on Ivy Blade just because it makes them feel like there used to be the forbidden knowledge or whatever. You flip the top card. Mike Hardiman was talking about that, and I know Taki wants Rikki Tikki Tavi all the time because she wants to draw a million cards. So that's what I've called it since I've just called Rikki Tikki Tavi. But
shout out to Kali Yuga too.
That thing, yeah.
Okay, so now do you think it's worth playing these high-powered assets? Do you think that people are going to really play them since they're so powerful? Because I know the last few, pretty much since Bebop, the Pit is kind of seeing some play now, just as like Jackie Tech and stuff. But
I mean, do you remember when Scott Sudman won the first PTC with 4 swordfishes in his deck?
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying like since swordfish really they've been few and far between. You know, like power level wise.
Yeah, I think that's really the case. Is that
I mean,
we're seeing assets that are powerful here, and we haven't like there weren't a lot of powerful like the assets in Street Fighter vs. Darkstalkers were just weak. They were not
they're bad.
Like they wouldn't be good foundations, frankly.
Very true.
And the assets in Mortal Kombat were pretty weak too. You know, Pit is a powerful hoser, but a lot of people want to give their own attacks stun or whatever. So it's
very true.
It's hard to fit index, and you also have to just imagine like it's very abstract what it actually shuts down. Like it actually won Turbo Worlds shutting down Jackie. If you'd asked me, hey Kevin, what's some good Jackie tech? It would take me 2 days to find Pit.
Yeah. Actually, it was more of Stage Kill did the job there, but yeah, we know.
Really?
Yeah. You walked into that Stage Kill block, but yeah, whatever.
Ouch.
Yeah.
I mean, I think like part of it is definitely that there just haven't been assets that good. You know, like there's been a lot of terrains, and they're just kind of like honestly, right? Like most of them have been kind of like hate pieces for other cards, and people don't love playing. You know, it's just. I don't know. Those aren't like the first thing that people go like. I need to include this because like, what if my opponent is playing like this random action? You know, like I feel like they used a lot of the asset slots just to basically hate on like Punch and Judy.
Yeah.
And you know a few other things, and so this is like the first set in a long time where I mean obviously everybody has an asset, so like yeah, like you're gonna have hopefully some good ones and. They're going to do things other than just answer other cards. You know, they're like stuff like
almost every asset in the set is part of a strong proactive game plan.
Yeah,
and a lot of them complement that, like Kaliyuga, with a really good, you know, defensive, restrictive, however you want to put that ability that takes off your opponent's options too. Yeah, like Krita-Yuga, it's got you know +3 damage on tap foundation for your attack, and also it completely taps your opponent's board out. You know, it's a great defensive tool.
Oh, it's fantastic. Yeah, that card's nuts.
I don't know how good it is on defense for people that aren't Xianghua, but yeah.
Well, you know, check out Betrayal, guys. That's a sick card that deserves more love.
Hey man, you know what? That Mega Man 2 can play some Chainblade revert. You know, not on symbol, but if he's playing a reversal off of like Void, say he gets it stun 2, he gets it stun 4. It basically gets 2 more stun, and then you know.
So what you're saying is,
you know, he stuns but doesn't.
SRK.
Yes, there you go. SRK. There we go. That's what I'm looking at. Yeah. SRK with some stun on it. With Mega Man 2.
There you go.
Off of Void. So, you know. And you can give
Kevin, you got the sweats yet?
What?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No. So, okay. Is there anything else you'd like to say? Any shout-outs to anybody before we move on to maybe Rob wants to talk about his Guile experience?
I didn't even think of shout-outs. Shout out to Dave Wagner for helping me trim down or to like kind of talk through some of these spam foundations. Left Die is a card I love and didn't realize how insane it is with Quest for the Hero Sword. Shout out to Sean O'Brien and also Benjamin Broberg, who was not at this PTC despite being local because he likes sleeping too much, I guess. But he actually put this deck together for me. He's has top 8'd the Rochester PTC in the past, and someday hopefully he'll play some UFS again. But I didn't prepare shoutouts.
It's okay. Sorry. I mean, I kind of just sprung it on you. My bad. Sorry, dude. You know. So Rob, you want to talk about your weekend at all with you and you and Guile?
So I mean, when I went to Atlanta, you know, I kind of had like a bit of a plan, which was make everyone miserable. You know, if you still haven't seen my tournament report, you know, go check it out. It's on the Shameless site. But for this tournament, I mean, honestly, this is one of the closer ones, so I don't feel like as obligated to really like go out of my way to like do super well because I don't really care, you know. Like this is just kind of like go up there, have some fun. And
I feel the same way, Rob.
My thought process was sort of that there's going to be a new set. There's going to be a lot of people playing new decks, trying new things. I feel like it's been out long enough that, you know, if people really wanted to, they could have probably like tuned a deck, you know, just either online or with a play group. But ultimately, I figured it would be newer, like less than optimal decks. And so I figured I could play an older character that was probably not optimal and still have sort of like a fighting chance. I had never gotten a chance to play Guile with like fusion refusal, so I wanted to give that a shot. And honestly, like I kind of wanted to play Maxi, but Scott was already playing Maxi. And I thought about going with a good deck and then siding into Maxi, but when I started putting together like a good Guile, I was like, God, this deck's terrible. So I was like, I'm just gonna build it off Earth because Earth has like some better like foundations and stuff that I wanted to play. So yeah, I mean, basically, I ended up with like fusion refusal. So that's the funny thing too, is I should have known this now. When I was putting the deck together, I kept looking for more slots, and the card that I kept coming back to of like, man, like I need more slots. It was always fusion refusal. So the deck that like ideally it's built around was the card that I kept being like, man, I really want to cut this.
Oh man.
But I toughed it out. Honestly, I feel like it was more useful to me like defensively as a bit of like. I mean, I used it offensively. It was fine, but it certainly wasn't like, whatever. What was no, damn it. Whatever the old card was that was like form, add it, it gets some damage and stun.
The Rio card. I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Something feelings, right?
Yeah. I know what you're talking about.
Anyway.
Yes. It gave your order an air card stun 1. Yeah. Kevin's looking it up.
I don't know either. It was in one deck ever.
Yeah, it was in
Unspoken Feelings.
Unspoken Feelings. Yeah, there it is.
So honestly, like it wasn't as good for that. I mean, the biggest thing is that you can use the E when it's committed. So if you need a little extra damage, you can throw it in there. If you have extra foundations and you're searching for that extra damage, like you can put it in and like bring it back down later. But it's good to use to commit for Guilezar. And it's good to use like defensively. You can pass some blocks and then throw it in afterwards. And sometimes I would throw it in on an attack early just to get a little damage reduction on something I didn't plan on blocking. And if they kept attacking me, I would be able to use it to boost my check with Shadow Inheritance. So like that was sort of useful as well.
Cool.
Did you ever end up playing Guile's response in your opponent's turn while you're playing a reversal?
I think at least once. Not too frequently. I did. I mean, I played whatchamacallit as a reversal this once. Power Flip, which you don't need to bring. You don't need to respond. You just bring it down.
It's like Guile's response, but free.
Yeah. That was, I guess, the other big thing is like the other card that I really wanted to play again was Flash Kick, which I guess that was sort of the thing. Is like if you're gonna play Guile, like Flash Kick is the reason why. I mean, playing that as a reversal is pretty sweet. If you can get 2 or 3 foundations in your card pool, get a little bit of stun. I mean, honestly, it's the same as Xianghua, but just bad. Like if you can block with a foundation,
yeah, you get 8 more life.
If you can like block with a foundation or use one of the E's to get it up there, block, play that. Pull in another foundation, right? I mean, you get to commit 2 or 3 things. I mean, you can commit characters too. Yeah. I did that once or twice where I was able to get them like committed out enough that I could get all the way to their character.
That's cool.
But yeah, honestly, the biggest thing was at the last minute I got in a couple copies of Burning with Revenge off Symbol. And I mean, my entire attack lineup had good, so as off Symbol as that is. And, if someone wanted to cram it in my card pool, I would just play the E and get it out of my card pool. But that with Guile is really good. I mean, with Nutcracker, with Flash Kick, I mean, you add it, you bring it down, you get +2 damage, and then you have a committed foundation to blow up for Guile.
Oh, that's nice.
+3 damage. So that was good. I mean, just giving you something to sort of loop. I should have found a way to play 4 of that. So... basically every time when I had something, I was like, man, I'd really like to add. Well, I don't have any. So, it was I mean, it wasn't bad. Like I said, the whole day sort of just, at least the first half of the day, sort of just felt like one of those things where it was just like, just a step slow, just like, just a day late, dollar short. I played a Maxi in the first round. We ended up having a draw. I got the first game, and it took, I don't know, long. In the second game, I just really, I had one turn that was like really promising, and he played a stop, which I didn't see in the first game, so he might have like sided them in. And honestly, if he doesn't play that stop, like he's gonna lose. Based on my next attack would have been another Nutcracker, which I would have drawn a Dark Chirito off of with momentum. Like basically, if Guile wasn't committed, like he was beyond dead.
Yeah.
But he was, and turns out that Maxi, like, I guess this was the non-Scott Maxi, and he, I don't know, I felt like his attack lineup needed work. It wasn't that.
Oh, is this David?
Yeah. But turns out Maxi plays pretty good defense. I mean, like, he would be able to get just like 3, 4, 5 momentum just from like some of his effects. I mean, just from Maxi and from like a couple poke attacks that, maybe I partial blocked. And, when he's sitting on a pile of momentum like that, and, you're trying to like attack into him, like he'll pass checks and then just ready stuff. He'll play a defensive like enhance and then ready that foundation. And like, you just can't keep his board down at all. So really, my attacking versus him was based on like how many cards does he have in hand, because like I couldn't do anything about his board. And the real issue, I guess, was he was also running a couple reversals, so he was running power flip. And when I had to when he's playing that and it's like 8+ damage, plus he just gets all the free stuff coming back down, like that was actually like really frustrating for me. And so once he started like finishing turns with like 4 or 5 cards in hand, and like I had taken some damage, and I was like, I can't really attack him because like if he reversals me, like even if I block it, I'm still gonna just die on the backswing.
You're gonna be open,
right? Because of the resources I have to commit.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, we were down to about 5 minutes. And so I was just and the problem was like I couldn't even like poke with attacks to like try to bait out like him blocking the stuff, because if he has like those reversals, like I'm gonna die. So I kind of had to try to build defense pieces, holding up blocks, and he finally just had a hand that was like 5 or 6 or 7 attacks, and just blew me up with about a minute or 2 left in the match. So we had a draw. The second round I played J-Ray. I actually won the die roll and built some stuff on 1. He built some stuff, built a little bit more, and then he goes Moonset, picks it up, Moonset, air ground smash, builds some more, and I go, okay, well, I blocked both of the like forbidden Moonsets, so I only took 6. Like, that's not that bad. I'll like play out some, do something, play out a couple more foundations. And he drew like another Moonset, so he like doubled up Moonset me again and played like Sangui, like sacrifice. Like he just absolutely like annihilated my board on like turns 2 and 3, or 2 and 3, and like like I don't even think I did any damage to him. Like it was like there was no hope. And then in game 2, I made a really dumb mistake when attacking and didn't play a Dark Chirito. And then by the time I was ready to play it, I could have possibly failed on a 3, and I was still at full health. So I was like, I can probably live, and I didn't live. Both games, I died to a Forbidden Moonset where all I had to do was check a 5, and both times checked a 3. So,
ouch.
Pretty good. I don't know that I would. I mean, I probably would have won the game 2. I probably wouldn't have won game 1. But, yeah. So then I went down, played a Scorpion, where got like a little salty because on the turn that he killed me, I full blocked 3 or 4 attacks, and between the double
the double burn,
the double
like
Flame Aura,
or Flame Aura, okay,
and like Scorpion Z, like I basically took like 12-ish from a bunch of like full blocked attacks. And then his last one was coming at me with the Scorpion Pump for exactly 10, which I reduced to 9 with Voices in the Dark, and he had out the Shungoku Satsu or whatever to get to give it +1. So I tried to give it take it down to 8 so that he couldn't pump it back to 10, and he revokes that and then pumps it back up to 10, and that was it. I was just like, Scorpion. So after thoroughly down there now, I mean I'm like 0-2-1, so it doesn't matter at this point. I got to play Mason, who was playing Chun-Li and hasn't played in 2 years, and I destroyed him. It was awful. I felt bad, but had to take out my misery on someone. I think he was the one where he attacked me turn 2, and I just played a giant flash kick, tapped out his board, tapped his character, and there was nothing he could do about it.
Mm-hmm.
Man, round 4 was just the wrong round to be playing loosey-goosey attacks on too, huh?
I guess so.
Yeah.
And then last round I played a Sakura, which was interesting. I guess the last 2 rounds playing Chun-Li and Sakura, makes the Nutcracker less good, but I mean it's still good.
Mm-hmm.
And the Sakura actually got 1 game. I think she got the first game. I think it was probably turn 2, played just a giant Sakura Shinku Hadoken for 1 billion damage that there was no chance of me blocking because of all the
block modifier.
Block modifier, yeah. And so I just had to eat that one, and that kind of just put me in a hole. But I got the second and third games, so I don't know. I mean, like I said, I guess I ended up 10th overall with a terrible strength of schedule.
Mm-hmm.
So
hey, you fought back though. You at least you won.
Yeah,
you won.
yeah.
Hey, you fought back, man. That's not bad. You just didn't cash it in, so I appreciate you repping the show. At least coming back.
I think that there's definitely stuff there that's interesting. I mean, Guile's not winning an event anytime soon. Yeah. I think you could probably get one to top if you really put in a lot of work on it, but I don't say that I would recommend it.
Sure. Okay. Alrighty. Well, thank you for sharing your experience. So let's go into Arkansas PTC, which is this weekend. We got about 20 minutes left, so we kind of have to fly through this a little bit. So Kevin, before we kind of talk about it, we're gonna do our picks right now. So we need an attendance number, and then attendance. We need 2 winners. We're each gonna pick a winner, and then we'll go around, and then how many diversities there are going to be.
All right, 18 attendance. Do I pick one winner now, or
one winner? Then we all pick a winner, and then we'll go through the attendance first. Then we each pick a winner. And then we do diversity. So Rob, you're going last, right, Rob? Yeah.
Sure.
Okay, so I'm gonna go.
Who's gonna win?
I'm gonna go 21 for attendance.
Man, I think it's gonna be more than that. I think it's gonna be 24, 25.
All right.
I'll say 24 and let Barrett pick 25.
Barrett should just pick 1. But whatever. We'll get
it's
his
gonna
pick.
be more than 18.
Well, I have a feeling too. So Kevin,
picking last is so OP in Price is Right style, man. Oh my God.
It is. Yeah, it is. So
that's why Barrett's never on the show, just so we can pick last and fuck it up.
I know. Yeah.
Just make him blind pick. He's 17.
What do you think? Your first pick for a winner.
Shit, is Dave Wagner going? I'm gonna pick Akuma.
Akuma? All right, cool. I almost wrote Dave Wagner down. I
don't think Dave Wagner is gonna, the character is gonna win the event.
I'm gonna go with Goro.
Oh man, we're going old stuff, huh?
Well, I know there's a guy down there who plays Goro pretty exclusively, so he may.
Oh yeah, that's the correct answer. You're right.
Yeah.
Damn. Sleeping on Rodney, damn.
Oh, that's right. Rodney could be going. Yeah. Well, I was thinking about another guy. There's another guy too who's playing Goro.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Rodney probably will go. He'll probably end up playing Goro. Yeah, but we'll see.
SMH.
Rob.
Man, I don't know. What else is good this week?
Everything's good. Everything's good. I would just not pick Siegfried because I think he's really bad.
I'm not in danger of picking Siegfried.
Okay, just make
Flash Man.
Plant Man.
Plant Man's good.
Yeah, we know that. Yeah.
I'll go with I'll go with Ken.
With Ken?
Yeah.
Ken.
Ooh,
All right.
that's spicy. Kevin?
I had a choice like 30 seconds ago.
Yeah.
Fuck. I'm catching up on Discord at the wrong time. God. I'll take Lord Raptor.
Raptor?
Talking about Dave Wagner's got my blood all.
Ooh. All
Got me
bubbly,
all
eh?
excited.
I'm gonna pick Sophitia.
God, I should have picked literally any Soul Calibur character. What an idiot.
Yeah, you could have, yeah.
Speaking of Soul Calibur characters,
Dude, this set's not even out yet in my head. Like, I've had like 3 days with it.
I'll take Grow.
Oh.
Oh.
Interesting.
I will side bet one of the guest points that no Grows show up.
Okay.
Ooh.
I mean, it's possible.
It's possible. My other pick was Taki, but I'm just riding the Taki train because I love her so much. She's awesome.
Yeah, shout out to Tim Keefe and especially Tim Keefe's opponents for jobbing it out and keeping him in 9th place.
Yeah, I was
1 point of strength of schedule away from getting an 8th seed in Swiss Champ Grossing me right out of that tournament.
I was looking at the stands, just like, oh shit, because I knew Tim was playing her, and I was just like, if Tim gets in at 8, we may be talking about a totally different champion because Xianghua does not want to see Taki on the other side.
It's suffering.
Yeah, exactly. She does not want to see Taki
It just
whatsoever.
sucks.
Yeah, it's really rough. You guys just stare and lock eyes and just whisper sweet nothings, listen to endless love.
No, she just
all
starts
the time.
fucking me up, and I can't do anything.
That's also true. Yeah.
Like I don't like Xianghua does not like +3 speed. I have 28 foundations in my deck.
Yeah, that's also true. Yeah, true. All right, so the amount of diversities we're gonna have in your 18 people that actually get zero diversities. I am also gonna go with 0. Wait, no.
They do that?
Wait, no. Jenna, I'm going with 1. The girls are gonna diversify each other.
I'm taking 2.
Taking 2? All right. We got a good spread. No one's actually picking the same numbers. Because usually I pick the same number that Rob picks, because then I stay 1 ahead of him at all times. And I'm changing it this time.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Protecting the lead.
Protecting the lead. Okay, so, I think this is another store that didn't have a PTC last year as well.
Yeah, they were like, I was honestly kind of surprised. Like, I guess last year was the year of like a bunch of OG stores like not getting PTCs.
Yeah, and I know they didn't get one, and same thing with Rochester. But this year, since they bumped up the amount of events to 22, they are all the older stores are now getting their events back. So, I know Omaha travels to this one, and I know that Louisiana does. I know Atlanta's shown up there a few times. You know the Mississippi kids are going to go, so maybe Brad Townsley's going to, maybe win and go vote for me, so, it's worth a shot, I guess, I don't know, but it's going to be interesting to see. Hopefully, I heard there is a stream, because Brian Harris has been throwing them tips on how to get it done and all that stuff, and sometimes Dallas shows up there too. It's not that far of a drive, I guess, and maybe like 5 or 6 hours, I don't know how big.
God, if Brian Harris is sending them tips on how to set up their stream, are they gonna start putting their cards upside down?
I don't know. I hope so.
I don't think I could take it.
Oh, you couldn't take that? Oh my gosh, that'd be so awesome.
And Turbo, he was not only playing his cards upside down. He had his Turbo or his triple threat belt.
Yes.
And he set that on his playmat, and that was his staging area.
That's awesome. That's great. That is great. I love Brian. Oh, that's great.
Oh my god.
That's
what a legend.
That's fantastic. I'm hoping they get a good turnout. I'm hoping, and Rob thinks they're getting 24. I'd be surprised. I hope they get more. That'd be great.
I hope they play 5 rounds. I hope they get like 34.
Yeah,
That'd be amazing.
That would be great.
I would find out much more useful information for Worlds.
Yes, that's very true. Yes, yeah, it's gonna be.
I'll find out how wrong I am to think that Akuma and Lord Raptor are the two that's most likely to win the event, which is hilariously wrong already.
I don't know about that. You never know, man. You never know. Just someone could just get hot with Akuma and just roll people, but it happens. So he can just dumpster people. So.
Did you want to talk about the thing that I guess Kevin said about the cards in his deck?
Oh yeah, we
said
can.
Something
We got
about the best card or something.
Yeah, we can lead that into card of the week, and then we can end the episode. So it's a good segue. Sure.
Yeah, so we had a really interesting conversation after the tournament. We went out to dinner at a bar and all got food, and we're chatting about the event and everything. And someone asked the question, what's the best card in your deck? And I thought it's a really interesting question because obviously Xianghua makes all the cards work, makes the whole thing tick. But if they were to ban one card to try to nerf this deck that wasn't just X, what would you do? Would you kick Krita Yugo? Would you kick Windmill Punch? Would you kick Skull Barrier? Or Quest for the Hero Sword? Or one of the action cards, Bang, Yin Yang, Gateway Shuffle? Or Forbidden Moveset, which is the only non-3 damage attack. The only thing I can't play with Xianghua's Response. But it's just such an unbelievably powerful card.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, that was a really interesting discussion. This deck really gets to take advantage of a lot of powerful cards that maybe haven't been seen together before. A lot of them are just new cards, obviously, but we haven't seen any Water Swallow Your Soul decks, as far as I know, anywhere.
Yeah, it's been mostly Earth, right?
It eventually got popular in Goro decks.
Yeah.
And even then, that's really about the only place. I guess Tim's Lilith deck.
Yeah,
which is an anomaly in lots of ways.
It just synergizes so well with theirs, so he has to play 4 of them.
Oh yeah, it's a super good card.
Oh yeah,
obviously. We were talking about it earlier.
Yeah,
I could see it in a vicious deck as well, or Jet. Literally anyone that's just I put 2 damage on stuff.
Sure.
It's just think about it.
But were people actually asking you if they were gonna since you did so well, oh, it's time to ban her? Or is that what people That doesn't seem it makes no sense. The set's been out. The set was out for less than a day. It's just.
I would never fault anyone who had the experience that Scott did.
Oh yeah, okay. Well, Scott aside.
Anything.
Yeah, well, Scott aside. Well, Scott probably just wants to ban the entire thing just because.
The thing. I heard
he didn't even say
that Jay Ray also said during finals that the way his deck was checking, he certainly wasn't going to win. But even if he was checking better, I think he was I don't know how I'd even start to go about winning.
Yeah. Sure.
And part of that is just his it's not. I don't think it's a good matchup for him. He's not playing a ton of defense, and he also doesn't have a lot of foundation, so he's just gonna get stunned out every single time.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
But
Kevin,
I'll say I take
yeah, go ahead.
Because I never played Kevin. I was never even close to adjacent to Kevin. A lot of it was sort of just stuff I heard secondhand. So having looked at the list, I can say that the only card in there that I think that if you were this deck shouldn't exist, we got to do something. The only card in that list that I think is doing something to it is going to make a large impact is Krita. I think that's the card that really brings everything together. I don't know if it's the best card, you know what I mean? If you think that is Forbidden Moonset, I'm not going to tell you you're wrong. I think that's a card. Honestly, I feel that's a little bit Missile Launcher in Tim Keefe's Lilith deck. Yeah, where someone was well, why are you playing this card? It doesn't have 3 damage. You can't play it. And it's well, you have to open with something.
Sure.
And when I open with something that literally answers your best foundation and possibly gives me a momentum for either a Skull Barrier or Windmill Punch, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
This does everything I want it to do and threatens damage because what are you going to do? Not block it? Great. Yeah. And if you do block it, I just get to play attacks for free. It's just one of those things where it's right, you just you pass a 5 and go, okay, your move, and they go, I don't know.
Yeah, I know
one card that there's going to be a late addition to this deck too along that line is I thought about playing Cowboy Battery for the same reason. Here's a big attack, does a lot of damage on its own. It makes the rest of my attacks easier to land. He puts a face down on the card because I was looking at playing Greatest Combatant.
Sure.
And it's not on theme, but not everything needs to be.
No. Yeah. I know that it's like, you don't want to outright ban a card like Krita, so what would you do? Just change it to like your turn?
I mean, I wouldn't ban anything right now.
Well, you don't have to ban it. I'm just saying in general.
It doesn't matter.
Let's just kind of like spitball and throw stuff against the wall. So like, how could you?
There was some on the ground reporting. Ryan Pham was there. Our judge was telling us that it was changed somewhat late in development, and that where it has 2 abilities or twice per turn, it once had 1 ability, which was to the untapped foundations, and it added 2 damage. Which makes sense as a 1/5 asset with maybe a block, maybe not. You can tune that however you want. And what it is now with the additional stun +2 stun rating thing was a late addition. And this is a egregious 1 difficulty card. This is way.
I mean, I guess that's my my 5-word summary. I'll say is Krita Yuga was a mistake. I mean, like if you just look at it. It's basically Krita Yuga is a 1/5, doesn't have a block, whatever.
Yeah.
It's a 1/5.
You're still playing 4 of it. Yeah.
It's and like on a sort of standard turn, it's 2 foundations, it's +6 damage, and it's stun 4.
Yeah. Very true.
Yep. For free. For literally nothing. And it's one of those, like, Kevin sort of talks about, like, oh, well, I only ran, like, 28 foundations. Well, yeah, because he ran an asset that was 2 foundations.
Yep.
Every turn it was in play.
Yep.
That gives me a weakness, too, because what happens a lot was people would bang Xianghua, and then I had this Krita Yuga play that has no text. Because none of my texts naturally have stun, and it's pretty hard for me to play a reversal on your turn.
Mm-hmm.
So it's only skill barrier.
Yeah.
And I played 6 damage skill barriers as reversals to get some foundations untapped. That happened a lot, but
it's also
a
like
lot better.
It's also like you said, there aren't. You were talking about how there are answers to the deck, like Fade, Akuma, Bang can stop. Anything that's
out of your league,
just Rexer, Taki. Anything that can, do that type of stuff.
I mean, that's the big thing. Yeah, I would say just like the existence of Taki is one of those things where it's like, I don't know if we'll ever see, like, especially X herself. It's just like, you sit down across from a Taki, and they're just like,
yeah,
cool.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And you just start sweating, That's the thing. Is like, I don't think that she herself is like some, like, unstoppable juggernaut. And like we said, I think that this is why sort of the hype started to die down as people started like looking at some of these other cards and just being like, man, like there's some rough things that she has to deal with.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
And like, that's not false. I mean, part of it is like, I don't know, like, I mean, he said like some of the like biggest threats, like he ran into like early,
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And I think that's all it is. I think that, if you were on the fence about running any kind of asset heat, like,
you
don't be on the fence.
You definitely need asset hate going into Worlds. That's a hot take right now. You definitely would need asset hate. You're going to need it.
And the thing about her, though, is, like, especially with Kevin's build, running... I mean, I guess so. Like, let's do a quick aside, I guess. Sure. So, for that game against Scott, where, he said, like, Kevin went first, built, like, 2 foundations in Krita. And so he's like, all right, not a great build, like, whatever. And he has his hand, opens it up. I think he built like 4. Yeah. And one of them was like hack or whatever. Like whatever the 9 thing that is like commit something like an asset or foundation with
Radical Edward.
Work.
Yeah, Radical Edward. Yeah.
And he was like, this is awesome. Like, I'm set. I'll tap Krita Yuga. I'll never have to deal with it. Like, good. And Kevin opens up and goes, here's a Forbidden Moon set. Pick that up.
Yeah.
Stun a billion. And I think Scott said he managed to block the moon set.
He blocked the moon set. Yeah.
And then like for free, he's like, well, here's a Swallow Your Soul. And
Kevin ended that turn with 3 momentum.
Yeah, because he got him
it was moon set power up, and then Swallow.
Yep.
Immediate power up plus goes to momentum.
Yep. Yeah. He ended that turn.
I don't even know. Would you maybe build like 1 or 2 more foundations, if that?
I built 1. Yeah.
And so what Scott said is,
if memory serves, I actually shipped a spare Krita with the moonset power up.
That was what someone was saying. It's like running 4, and it's like, well, if you're running moonset, you have an extra, just put it in your momentum. What Scott was saying is that he should have played Let's Cut Loose, because I think at some point he had checked
he checked a sense of morals.
Right,
That's what he was telling me.
Sense of morals. And what he wanted to do was play the sense of morals, replay like the Radical Edward, and so that like basically like getting stunned or whatever, like it didn't matter. I mean, I guess like Moonset is still Moonset, but yeah. And so what he did is he was like, I played an attack, and I didn't want. He's like, I didn't even care about doing any damage. He's like, I just wanted like an enhanced step in order to let's cut loose. And so so he plays an attack. Kevin blocks it. Reversal windmill punch, like yin and yang, stun you out, like 1 billion damage, like game.
Yeah, that was nuts.
Right. And so it's sort of fine, right? It's just like, well, I had an answer, and then it was gone, and then I tried to get an enhanced step, and I lost. And like ultimately, that's how the game went. It's like
that's how
he had a subpar build. I felt like I had an answer. The answer went away, and then I died.
Yeah, and so. that's what initially attracted me to Forbidden Moonset was I was looking at the water symbol, and I was dissatisfied with how many flexible answer cards I had. I had Bang, and that was like it. There's cards like I've had Ever Hopeful coming in and out of this deck, even though it sucks.
Mm-hmm.
Just because I want to be able to get cards off my opponent's side of the board. And Forbidden Moonset does all that and gives you a reach around at the same time. It's fantastic.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Yeah.
I think it's Grow's action that I was looking at, and I was like, dude, like this is at least a sideboard card. Like just for the fact that it's like from hand, it can like blow up an asset.
Oh,
like,
yeah, sure.
Yeah, I know Jeremy was telling me his sideboard has 3 copies of Guilt Seeker, which is Grow's Throw. Yep. That if you can play multiple ability, destroys a target asset or foundation.
Mm-hmm.
And then if your opponent has no assets, it gets 2 more damage. So it ends up being a 4/6 multiple one.
Mm-hmm.
Very powerful card, very flexible, and can solve a lot of problems. I think that's what you really want to be looking for. Like you don't want to just say, "Oh, I need to beat assets." Let me put like 4 copies of Heidi's Foundation in my deck that removes an asset. Like find flexible cards, find things that fit your game plan that incidentally answer assets. I think Radical Edwards actually like one of the most underrated cards in Standard right now because there are so many, not even just assets. It taps foundations with you.
Just anything
foundation. Tap that down. The unique, tap that down.
I've tapped Commander of Outworld's armies because it has Breaker on it. And I'm just like, I don't want to deal with that. I don't want you to flip anything, so I'll commit it.
Shadow Inheritance?
Yeah, Shadow Inheritance? Oh, yeah. Just make sure they don't have a sense of morals on their side of the board first. That's all. Yeah. Yep.
That sounds rough.
All right, so kind of segueing into card of the week, because we talked about it a lot. Forbidden Moonset is the card of the week. It was the hot star of the weekend. I think that may be, in my eyes, that and Ghost Thief are kind of like the chase ultra rares in a way, but I think Forbidden Moonset is way better than that because stat wise or whatever.
All right.
Yeah, but it's more like stat wise, and that's why people are saying it's the Nutcracker, which I have no idea, but whatever. But Forbidden Moonset is the card I think out of the set that people are just gonna go bonkers over. And I know Subblade and Krita Yuga are up high on the sell list, but I think Forbidden Moonset's going to be jumping those just because it was in top 2 decks. It was in the 8th seed deck.
Good place.
Yeah,
8th
seed.
seed.
It was probably, I would assume the decks that didn't get into tops, if they were playing those symbols, had it in there because that card's just a powerful tool.
I mean, if they have it. I know Will borrowed like a couple from us.
They had it. I had to pick up my last 3 from Legendary Wolf, but yeah, it was nuts, dude. Yeah, it was crazy. Yeah, I only got 1 out of 8 boxes. I had to buy my other 3. And I was like,
yeah, I've heard some wild stories about this tournament.
Yeah,
about the box people voting. I know I had my deck laid out for my deck registration, and I had 3 copies of Quest for the Hero Sword, and Tim Keefe walks by and says, "Oh, that's more than I opened in my 2 cases or whatever." Did he open?
I mean, I built the Guile deck like intentionally, like trying to avoid like ultra rares from the set, and like we opened the stuff. We got a couple. I think we got like 2 Let's Cut Loose, and like Scott had gotten like I think pre-ordered like 4 of them. And so we were like, okay, well, we only got 2, but it's okay. He's running 4. I'll run the other 2 we opened. And, like, I get everything together. I'm sleeving up my deck. I'm like, I'm missing, like, 2 cards. What am I missing? And I realized I was running 2 copies of, like, whatever from the Abyss.
Oh,
Voices from the
Zaz's
Abyss or whatever,
action?
the action for
Yeah.
Zosimo.
Yeah.
We didn't open a single one in 8 boxes.
Yeah, I got 6.
And I was just like,
I wish I would have known. I could have
like-
shipped them to you.
yeah. Well, there you go.
I didn't know. You were going to tell me what you were playing like days before.
But yeah, I mean, you know, I sort of would have thought like most things you'll get like at least like one or two.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
But yeah, to close out Moonset, like, why does this have a 3 check? Seriously, like,
It's kind of like how I think Missile Launcher should have a 1, but that's just my opinion, though. So
this card is as good as Missile Launcher.
I know it is. That's nuts.
Not even kidding.
Yeah. The card's.
At least it's high zone, so you can freaking block it.
Yeah, that is true. It doesn't add extra speed. There you go.
As long as you can check a 5, you can block it.
Yeah.
I can't check a 5. I can't block it.
Until people start finding the Yamato men of the world, the Spike Ones of the world, the is there like a six-hand size speedster character?
Yeah, Sophitia. Sophitia can get speed on it.
Sophitia, play this card with Artifice Avarice. Finally has a purpose in the world. It's to put speed on Moonsets.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I think that wouldn't that just feel
aristocrat it, or is that 3?
It's
no, 3. It always has 3.
Yeah.
So what you do is you get Pit in play, and then you make it lose save, so you can aristocrat it.
I think aristocrat's pretty.
Oh, dagger. Rough.
Yeah, with if you have to hope to fully block it with Sophitia, because if you partial block it, she's committing crap on your side of the board too. So you're losing a foundation plus tapping more stuff. That is nuts. Yeah, that card's just card's awesome. Yeah.
I mean, that thing is right. Like, I mean, you're running it like you weren't putting speed on it.
Nope.
He wasn't.
Please block it. Whatever. The rest of the decks are all fast.
That's the thing. He didn't care if people blocked it. That was the funny thing. It's like, because I was talking with Tim in Slam about Moonset in a deck, and he's like, Tim's like, well, how are you going to kill people if they block Moonset? I'm like, ooh, good point. And then I see Kevin's deck. He's like, block it. I'll just kill you with this stuff instead. And I'm like,
I'll kill it with my Skullberry.
I want a deck like that where I don't care if people block my shit. That's awesome.
Yeah, you have to just Chris, like, just look deep in your soul and see the injustice, like, then look out in the world and see the injustice and feel the flames begin to fill your body, and just take that anger, take that rage, and just put it into your deck. And just, like, channel it into E-commit +2 damage.
E-commit +2. All right. Well, anybody got anything else to close out the show other than I have to do the normal stuff at the end? So go ahead.
Shout out to Ryan Pham for a bunch of excellent judging over the weekend.
Oh, cool.
For lending me a Balanced Fighter when I left the rest of mine at home.
Disqualified.
For doing a great job and putting up with watching WrestleMania if he doesn't care about it. Shout out to David, who helped me test this deck on Tabletop Simulator on like Thursday, and just like being a good sport about getting absolutely fucking dumpstered. Helped me just putting the cards in play really helped a lot.
Sure.
And I think that was my 2 shout outs I remember.
Okay, cool. I just want to say again, thanks to Rochester CCG for the stream. We appreciate it. We had at most 20 people watching the restream with commentary, so that was pretty sweet. And then sorry again, guys, that we kind of shit out during Top Cuts, which is really sad because that was the important thing that I wanted to do. I know you guys kind of had sound during Top Cuts, so that was great because I know you guys didn't have sound during Swiss, so I'm glad we were there to kind of help out, and then you guys took it back over, which was fantastic.
Yeah, it started quieting down later in the night. It was really loud during the day. I had trouble hearing my opponent sometimes.
Oh wow!
And you can check out the video on demand of the entire tournament, the original quality, over on Rochester CCG Twitch.tv/Rochester CCG, and search for Rochester CCG on YouTube. It'll be mirrored up there shortly.
Cool.
Or by the time you hear this, it'll be mirrored up there.
Awesome.
And also catch our weekly show, Top Deck Heroes, at 8:30 Eastern.
Nice.
Also on Rochester CCG on
7:30 Central for you kids in the Midwest. Just to let you know. And you weird Pacific people.
I haven't watched broadcast TV in too long, so I always remember like Simpsons on at 6:30, 5:30 Central, and it was like it was always the complete sentence. They never mentioned Pacific time. Ever.
Because it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Specific time doesn't matter. Even though I'm from there, it doesn't matter.
There aren't people on the West Coast. They just don't exist.
Yeah.
They just don't watch TV.
They just don't watch TV. They're at the beach.
They go to the beach.
Yeah, they're at the beach. Yeah. So I want to say thanks to our sponsors, Jasco Games, our Patreon sponsors. We really appreciate you guys. We got to upgrade some of our camera equipment with the Patreon sponsorage. So again, thank you very much. We're going to be looking to getting hand cams for the Rockford PTC. Can't promise any type of commentary other than what's said through the mics. So you'll get to hear every nuance.
So just get me on stream. I'll give you some commentary.
Oh man, you're going to be here, so it doesn't matter. So, but yeah. So again, hopefully we'll have a stream up for the Arkansas PTC. Catch our weekly episodes of the Guile Treatment with me, Rob, Barrett sometimes, and our guest. And then again, we're gonna have a couple Patreon exclusive live streams coming up. So if you want to get on those, hop on Patreon. So again, thanks a lot, and have a good night. And thanks, Kevin, for coming on at short notice. And congratulations. And Rob,
yeah, thanks. It was a pleasure
better
to
luck
be
next
here.
time, man. But we love you.
X gon' give it to you. Fuck, wait for you to get it on your own. X gon' deliver to you. Knock, open up the door, it's real. With the non-stop pop out, stainless steel. Go hard, getting busy with it. I got such a good heart.